Yo, podcasters, check it, we here to thrill. Talking 80s flicks, and ain't gonna drink our fill. Got our brews ice cold, turn the volume up. From Top Gun to Ghostbusters, never get enough. Collaborate and listen to our reminiscing. Back to the Future and the Goonies crew. Pop the top, sit back, got a beer or two. Rock those big hairstyles and neon light craze. 80s tunes in the mix, rocking all our days. Collaborate and listen to our reminiscing.
All right, collaborate and listen, episode 6. What we got going on today, George?
I got a few more beers left over from my trip to California. So we're gonna go through those.
Will we be doing a cookie butter beer again?
We will not, but I do have 3 more cans if you want to take them home. Phil.
I said we have to do them here.
But yeah, and I was thinking actually about the whole, like if we want people to drink along with us, it's great that we have these beers from Tokyo and from California, but maybe in at least a few of the future episodes we'll look into getting stuff more local, so you can get it Safeway or
so I did so shout out, we'll do a quick early shout out to my team at work. It was Boss's Day yesterday and they got me some stuff, but they also got me some beer from Hanakoa. And so maybe on our next recording we'll do Hanakoa beers.
Yeah,
maybe, and then people can follow along. Well, I don't know which ones. I know Chihu Chongers was one that they got me. But yeah, like you said, as people can follow along. But awesome. Check this out. Quaffable. So I got a cup that says quaffable for the quaffable scale. So thank you, team, for the great Boss's Day gift, and yeah, give you guys a quick shout out there. Yeah, and awesome. Daniel also he's part of that crew, part of the team, and so that's why they know Quaffable is because
watching.
Some of them have been watching and listening, and so appreciate the listens, and it's been fun every once in a while just kind of chatting about things. So cheers to the team there. So a few more beers from California.
Yep. Today. So let's get this started because I know you've been waiting for a while.
Yeah.
I know the last time we did this, we both did in pregame, but while I was waiting for you, I did a little pregame.
Now, what size is this? We also limit ourselves to 4 drinks here. Supposed to be 4 drinks.
Yeah. So Charlie says 4 drinks, so I made sure that none of them are standard size.
Yeah.
But this one is a 19.2 fluid ounce. This is an Elysian Juice Dust. I've seen Elysian here, but I've never seen Juice Dust.
I've never heard of it.
Juice Dust. Yeah, it looks delicious.
Sounds good.
And its ABV is 8.2%.
Woo!
So
all right.
Go into this quaffable.
I don't know if I've ever seen a 19.2 ounce.
I know that's pretty unusual.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look that up. Is if it's a normal thing to have. I've seen definite 16 and 20 ounce. I don't know.
Yeah. Why and 19.2? What? It seems very specifically unusual.
Maybe in milliliters.
Yeah, could be.
It's like 500 milliliters.
Yeah, maybe it's from Canada, eh?
Hey, maybe. All right. Cheers. So George kept the glass so that we could see the color. I can't see it in here.
See exactly what hazy.
Yeah, it looks pretty hazy.
Yeah.
Has a good smell.
I like it. Yeah.
It has like a orange. I can smell it has a whole
citrus,
orange. It's it's wrapped in it.
It's like there's a hop. There's a hop that's wrapped with an orange rind. So I'm assuming that's what we're gonna taste.
So on one of the previous episodes, I think it was the last episode, you mentioned that you had Elysian, or you got some.
Yeah.
And I said that some Elysian beers I just don't like. It has something in there. Thankfully, this is not one of them. That's a decent beer.
Yeah, I think one of the first episodes we tried the Dank Dust one, right? That was I don't know if that was our pilot, but
yeah, but this one, This one, yeah, Space Dust is maybe one that
that's probably the most popular. I've actually seen it on tap, so you figure that's probably got to be one of the more popular ones if they're putting it in draft.
I think Clown Shoes is another. Space Dust might be the one that I don't like. All right, but this one's good.
Yeah.
My quaffable cup, give it a quaffable rating. Bitter also. This one's pretty high on the bitter.
Yeah.
It's similar to I think the last brewery, the first beer that we had last time. It was like on the IPA scale, it's a super tasty IPA. On the hazy, is like it's not super sweet, not super.
Yep.
But yeah, on the IPA scale, I give it a solid 7.
So you get that citrus, and almost immediately you're hit with the bitter right after that.
Yeah.
And
the bitter is strong.
Yeah.
I did just burp a little, and that citrus comes up strong on the
nice.
back end.
Yeah. So
Right,
for
good.
me, I think I would probably give it a 7 also.
Yeah, it's a good.
Yeah.
It's good. It doesn't taste as big as it is too. Like that's
8.2% ABV. So
normally
pretty
that's
strong.
Yeah,
Maybe we should have ended with this.
No, this.
Oh yeah, actually, maybe it's good that we started with
We
this
were
one.
ready for that.
I didn't even look at what the content was in all the ones that I have. I just know they're all from California.
Yeah. Now I notice you have a very special shirt on there. I
I
like this
do.
shirt. Yeah.
So I know we've mentioned this before. Charlie and I are both Falcons fans, and the Falcons are doing very good. So I told Charlie I was gonna wear my jersey to this episode.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got when they're winning.
When they're winning,
you don't wear it when they're losing.
Yeah.
You got to.
But I tell you what, if they lose this weekend, I'm not gonna wear this ever again in a podcast.
So I also do this at work, and it's a similar concept. Is that it's Falcon Friday, and so every Friday I wear a Falcon shirt. And I said that if I wear the shirt and they win, I'll wear it again the next week, and then I'll wear it until they lose, and then I'll change the shirt.
Yeah.
And so I've been wearing the same shirt because so week 1 they lost, and then week 2 I wore the shirt and they won. Week 3 I got sick. I didn't go to work, so I didn't wear the shirt. So my bad. I didn't wear the shirt,
and we lost.
That's why they lost.
Yeah.
And then the next week I wore it. They won. The week after that I wore it. They won 2 weeks in a row. And so
we're doing very well in our conference, which is the main thing.
So we're tomorrow. And the Saints. It's Thursday night right now.
It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good for the Saints. Yeah. So good. That's also good for Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta's gonna play the Bucks next week, and that's a division game, and they're both at the top. Atlanta beat them once, but they still have same records right now.
So this is Thursday night right now that we're shooting this. So the Saints are playing Denver. So shout out to our friend Nikki.
Yeah, congratulations.
Nikki is a Broncos fan.
Yeah,
she hasn't had too much to cheer about this season, but
hey, this season the Broncos not bad.
Yeah.
Not last week though. That's all right. She doesn't listen to the podcast. That's not yet. We'll get her on.
But when we first started this, I said we wouldn't talk about football too much until we got to the point where we are right now, where we're actually we're winning. Yeah, now we can talk about it.
We have to. I think on one of the other episodes, like, oh, I don't have anything. It was like maybe I have some Atlanta socks on, and like keep it all secret. But yeah, this it's been a fun couple of weeks. I mean, they've been playing some really close games, pulling it out at the end, which they haven't done in the past. You know, they used to play a lot of
crazy Korean kicker.
Yeah, the cool man. Yeah. It's been stressful to watch during the games and then fun when they win. Last week they played Carolina and did put them away and did a decent job. But Carolina is also last place in the division, so that wasn't like it was expected.
They're playing how you would expect them to play, and you're getting the outcome you would expect. But I'd like to see a little bit more. I think we're going to have to step it up this weekend against Seattle.
Yeah, offensively.
Yeah, our defense has been doing pretty good.
Offensively, like it's been better. I think Drake London, their top receiver, has wasn't catching on. Well, definitely with the prior quarterbacks wasn't doing.
They weren't able to do much. And it was all like
yeah, in the past few weeks, touchdowns every game and really stepping up. Kyle Pitts has been doing a
Kyle
lot
Pitts, I
better.
got him in 2 of my fantasy leagues.
Number 7, Bijan has Bijan's been
Bijan
doing.
Robinson.
He's still great. Algiers
Has been,
been coming in and really just I mean
they're
they
working hand in
complement.
hand. Yeah.
They complement each other, but if your fantasy is full Bijan, you're a little upset when Algier comes in.
Yeah.
He comes in and takes away carries, but he's been he's been having more dynamic runs. He's just powering through.
Yeah,
It's really fun to watch.
He's starting to have a career like how I thought he would when he was a BYU. Is it BYU? I think he was a BYU running back.
But yeah, he's there. So they're doing well. It's fun to talk about up to this point. And next time you see us, we'll see if we're still wearing Atlanta
the jersey
and talking about. But yeah, good job Atlanta for now.
Falcons hat also.
Got the hat. I should have brought my hat. It's an outside hat. It's like one of those sun hats, and I thought why would I wear it in here? But I did. So maybe I'll bring it on the next one and just to show people. But also for Bosses Day, I got a nice hat from one of my workers, Cami. And Cami listens, and she told me she listens to the podcast. So hello, Cami. Thank you so much for the hat. I love it, and I'll wear it. I'll show everyone the hat. It's an awesome hat. All right. Did we say what movie? I know last time we said what movie, but on this, did we say yet what we're doing? So what are we reviewing?
So the movie that we both watched. So this was a rewatch for me.
They're all rewatches for you.
A lot of them are rewatch. I haven't found one yet that I did. Well, actually, no.
Yeah,
Strange Brew.
That's
I thought I had seen it before, but I think I only saw
we got one. We got one that you haven't watched.
Yeah, but by now I probably watched it 3 or 4 times. So
that's great, eh?
And Charlie, this was a first time watch for him.
This was, and so Princess Bride was the first time for me too.
So far, a lot of these movies, I'll bring them up because I have a lot of memories with them. And so today's movie, or the movie that we're going over today, is Buckaroo Banzai and the Across the Eighth Dimension.
Across the Eighth Dimension.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's like one of those movies that I like because there's so many people in it. We're gonna get into that today. There was a lot of people in this movie. In case you didn't watch it, we're gonna go over a lot of people, whether they had cameo appearances or
yes, and my first watch, and what we're hoping for you all, for a lot of the movies that we pick, it'll probably be a first watch for a lot of people. Hopefully you start watching because the things that I'm learning about the movies, and then when we talk about it, or hopefully if you watch it and then you start listening to some of the things that we're talking about or learning some of the other facts, this movie was crazy for me. If you haven't watched it, it's complex. The movie gets out there, and after watching it, after kind of going through the facts, and it adds so much to it, and so hopefully, and that's the whole point of us doing this and talking about some of these movies, is to get you guys involved and interested in watching something that you maybe haven't seen before.
And so this movie came out in 1984.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if you watch it now and you had never watched it before, the special effects might be, you're gonna see old computers, you're gonna see old computer screens, a lot of basic writing. If you're a computer nerd, you know what basic is, and it's they're just the special effects. But if you think what it was like back then,
Strange Brew was also 1984, so it's about the same special effects.
Yeah, it might have been the same crew. Yeah, but so 1984. Interesting. We'll get into something else, but this was, so I would have been 12 years old when this movie came out, and there was. Are you gonna do the synopsis?
I can.
Okay, so Charlie's gonna do the synopsis, but this movie, I think, started my interest in conspiracy theories.
Oh,
And I think as you go over the synopsis, it'll explain for people that haven't seen the movie. Yeah, there is a pretty interesting. It's like the whole premise of this is based on what could be a conspiracy theory.
That's
It is a conspiracy theory, actually. Yeah.
yeah. That's I never even thought about it in that sense, but that's really what this movie
Yeah.
is all about. Yeah. Okay. Before we get to the synopsis, we mentioned last time that we're going to start doing fact checks, and I do have a few fact checks from the last episode. So if you haven't listened to the last episode, go ahead, give it a listen. Or when you are listening to it, there's a few things that I said, or I'll say we said, but it was mostly what I said that needs a little bit of correcting. And so the first one is we talked about another surfer movie called The Ride. We mentioned this movie called The Ride.
Oh shucks, I forgot to look up. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So the person that played Duke Hanamoku
Okay.
went to Kalani. He
Oh.
was like, I went to school with him. He's younger, but his last name was Kaava. I can't remember if it was Pahal or
So how did you
two
figure that out?
brothers.
Like you looked it up?
No, I
after,
watched
or
the
just-
movie. I watched the movie before.
Okay,
So
yeah.
when he mentioned it, I just couldn't remember which brother
Oh,
because they were twins,
oh.
and so one of them is the one that played Duke Hanamoku.
But I did,
a
yeah. I
younger-
just like as I was doing the fact check, I looked up and just the names that you just like. It's
Yeah.
familiar. Yeah, cool. So the fact check is, I said that the synopsis of that movie is there's a surfer. He hits his head in a surf competition. He kind of wakes up in old Hawaii, and we said Duke Hanamoku was in there. We said I think it was from the 50s. Well, Duke Hanamoku was not around in the 50s.
maybe 60s.
So Duke Hanamoku was born in 1890.
Really?
And this movie takes place around the turn of the century, but it was early 1900s and very little hotels, and that's when this movie takes place. And so
Great
not,
movie.
not in the
Great-
50s.
it's a
In the
great-
50s,
yeah.
there was a lot more hotels
Yeah.
already in Waikiki, but can't find it anywhere. It's right now. It's like only available on Hawaiian
Hawaiian
Air. And
Airlines.
apparently, it's not even available. Cousin Keith said it's not even available on Hawaiian Air. So we're gonna have to get it from Hawaiian Air or something, and we can get that out to people. Like we want to watch it. But that's one fact check. Other fact check. I mentioned there is a song by Israel Kamaka Viva Ole, "Over the Rainbow, What a Wonderful World," that was in a bunch of movies, and I said I think it broke records in how many movies it was in. I couldn't find anything official on breaking records, but there is a list of some films and television programs. So
Finding Forrester was one of them. That was a
Finding
big-
Forrester, 50 First Dates,
Yeah.
Charmed. This is movies and TV shows. Cold Case, ER, Horizon, Life on Mars, Meet Joe Black. And in fact, Meet Joe Black was one where it became like, it was big news that it was in that movie.
Mhm.
Scrubs, Snakes on a Plane. We also referenced Snakes on a Plane before. Son of the Mask, and it was also sung by the cast of Glee on their season finale from season 1.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to go look that one up. And then one last fact check. We said, and we're talking about Brother Is because he was in the movie North Shore. They were singing in the background,
Mhm.
and I said he's hard to miss because he's like 500 pounds.
Yeah.
And then I felt bad that I said he's 500 pounds, but he actually averaged 750 pounds and was over 1,000 pounds when he died at age
He might have
38
been
in 1997.
younger there, so maybe he was 500 pounds.
Maybe.
in the movie then.
But I felt like, like 500 pounds is a lot. But anyway, he was, typically like his average weight when you see a lot of the pictures from his albums and stuff, around 750 pounds. And
So in finding commonality, which is common in Hawaii, we like to do this in Hawaii. I went to Kaimaki Middle School, but it is went to Kaimaki Middle School. I remember my PE teacher had him as a student, and when we were in middle school, she told us a story about how he wouldn't do anything, but he'd just sit on the stairs and play ukulele.
I heard stories about
Yeah.
about that too. Yeah, it's good. That's what teachers do a lot, is you talk about your past students who made it. It's being brought. Bruno Mars
Bruno Mars.
Speaking
Yeah.
of, as a teacher, I'm Bruno Mars. Peter Fernandez or Peter Hernandez was my student back at Stevenson Middle School. And yeah, it's fun to talk about. Like you can tell
The beer lab,
stories and
beer lab. Isn't the beer lab guy or
no, it's
oh,
somebody else. But yeah, around the same age. Um, Nick Wong, part owner or founder of Beer Lab, was also one of my students around the same time
yeah.
that Peter was in my class. So, um, Bruno, Peter, you're listening to this. Give me a call. Be good to get back in touch with you. All right, so that's all the fact checks. I think everything else that we said was pretty spot on. But that's something that we're gonna try and do. We'll listen through, and if you are listening to the podcast and you hear something that's like, oh, that was wrong, um, let us know. 808collaborate@gmail.com. We'll be sure to mention you on the podcast. Hey, this was brought up. We got this email from this person. They mentioned this, and we will fact check and fix the things that we say that are incorrect. So
It's like Charlie's cousin Keith. He likes to write into our email and we give him shouts out because
we appreciate it.
yeah,
We
he's
appreciate
giving
the
us good
listens.
feedback and more
Um,
material.
Yep. And so we'll announce the next movie later, but spoiler, it'll be the one that spoiler for Keith. So Keith, when you're listening to this, you'll already know what the next movie is because it's the one that you recommended. For everybody else, there's no spoilers.
Yeah.
But we'll let you all know towards the end of the episode what our next movie is.
Before we move on, The Ride, I highly suggest it. If you guys have never heard of it or if you guys have never seen it, it's a great movie and they do like a lot of their footage that they do is to represent older Hawaii. So
and it
it's
looks so
just
real. They
it's
did such a
unreal.
good
I mean,
job.
I saw it when it first came out, and I think it was like one of those Hawaii.
It was like in a film
international
festival. Yeah,
festivals.
it wasn't like a
But
mainstream movie,
it
which is
was-
also why we can't find it now.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get access to this and somehow get it.
We
to
know
our
a few
listeners.
people at Hawaiian Airlines,
Maybe,
so
maybe we can get a flash drive somewhere and somebody can.
Before they completely convert to Alaska Air, we'd like to find out what we can get from Hawaiian Airlines.
Yeah. Oh, you should have checked on your trip or the next.
Well, it was on our flight.
Oh, okay.
I always look. I mean, I scroll through all the movies that's available, and I'll go through the older ones too, not just the new releases. But it was
that's good to know.
Yeah.
So I have a trip coming up for Thanksgiving. So next month I'll be taking a trip, and I'll be looking for it.
But there's got to be. I mean, if they're showing it on the plane, there's got to be somebody that we can talk to. That we can.
We're gonna hunt it down.
We're gonna. We'll find it.
I mean, if it's not streaming anywhere, like you got to be. We'll keep you updated on our quest to watch the ride or to somehow make the ride available for other people to watch. If we can get that to you, that would be such a win.
Yeah.
But it does portray old Hawaii, the values, the culture, and just.
And it was very relatable to North Shore with the whole learning, respecting.
Yeah, it was a very similar story.
Yeah.
It's a similar story. Okay. Shall we get to the part in our podcast that we call Be Kind, Rewind? All right, here we are. Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. As mentioned, this was from 1984. Director W.D. Richter. Quick synopsis of the movie. Buckaroo Banzai. Just the name. I may not be able to get through this. So Buckaroo Banzai is a multi-talented hero. He's a neurosurgeon, physicist, and rock star. Does play music in the show. Who, along with his team, the Hong Kong Cavaliers, embarks on a mission to stop evil aliens from the eighth dimension. After successfully testing his oscillation overthruster, a device that allows travel through solid matter, Buckaroo accidentally opens a portal to the eighth dimension. This attracts the attention of the evil alien Lord John Worfen, who has been trapped on Earth and seeks to use the technology to bring his alien army to our world. Buckaroo and his team must stop Worfen and prevent an interdimensional invasion before it's too late. That is Buckaroo Banzai. So you talked about conspiracy theory and aliens, and so this movie is very much, I mean, could be, people living aliens here, or not here, but in the eighth dimension, and somehow through the device called the oscillation overthruster, having people cross over the dimension so that they exist also here on Earth.
Did it say when? So the whole conspiracy theory thing is in the movie, these aliens, there were some that are already here, and so there is a known hoax that was played on radio back in the 30s, I think they said. Orson Welles.
Orson Welles.
So Orson Welles did a radio broadcast stating that there were aliens invading our planet, and it caused like mass panic, and they had to come out and say that it was a hoax. It was like on Halloween night, and he was doing a broadcast on radio, and it was so realistic that people thought that we were actually being invaded by aliens, and so they had to come out. This was like a big thing that this hoax was that this was played on the public, and there was like mass hysteria. So in this movie, what they're saying is they said it was a hoax, but the aliens really were invading, and that was like the cover up. So that was like
It was cool how they
it was crazy how they connected the whole thing, and all the Johns and Yo-Yo Line. I mean, like there's so many things.
So talk a little bit about the John. So the aliens all come from planet 10
in the eighth dimension.
In the eighth dimension, and in this
lectoids,
and there's red lectoids, which are bad,
and the black
lectoids, which are black,
which are they're Rastafarian,
and they're fighting against the red
lectoids.
But they're all red or black, are all named John.
Yeah.
Their first names are all John.
John Yaya, John Big Booty or Big Booty, and
so I was reading. Okay,
John
so
Orphan.
Big Booty is played by
Christopher Lloyd.
Okay, so the main cast. So Peter Weller is Buckaroo Banzai.
Also, he was also RoboCop.
That was his
movie
main,
in the
big one, RoboCop. Okay, so yeah, give it a go. So John Lithgow, he played Dr. Emilio Lizardo / Lord John Worfen.
Yeah.
And he was in, I think it was Third Rock from the Sun. And
more recently, that was his more recent theme, but in the 80s. And so we're gonna go through a lot of these people because some of these movies that we're gonna name, we might end up doing them. But a big one that he was in was Footloose.
I read that.
So he was in Footloose, and he was also in Pet Sematary, so there was a character named Rawhide, and he's played by a person named Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown was also in Pet Sematary, and he was in Highlander. Well, if we do Pet Sematary, it might be our first and only horror movie.
Good.
I mean, there's others. Actually,
isn't like Nightmare on Elm Street?
Nightmare on Elm Street would be like in the 80s, because
right?
Friday the 13th is the 70s, I think.
We could go
for the
70s.
first one.
I mean,
Yeah, we could go 70s.
We could
And at some point, we're going to probably go into the 90s too.
Yeah.
We're trying to stick to the 80s. And so what was interesting was John Lithgow was in Pet Sematary, and so was Clancy Brown. And Yeah, I mean there was like a whole bunch of them. So we had so I don't know if you recognize the sheriff when they first had the alien craft land and had
Okay.
the two redneck
Yeah.
guys. The sheriff was
Okay. Well, I don't know the name, but okay.
his name is John Ashton, but he was also Taggart in Beverly Hills Cop,
That's right.
and
That's right.
he was the father in a movie
He
called.
looked a lot young. He looked.
Yeah, he
young.
was way younger. Yeah, it took me a while to recognize, and then I was looking. I was like, yeah, I think that's Taggart, but he was also the father in a movie called Some Kind of Wonderful, another great movie that we may end up doing, and that also has a great soundtrack.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
We like
which
the
is
ones, we
we're,
like
we're
the
trying
ones
to
with
reel
the
it back
soundtrack,
into the
yeah.
music. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, John Ashton was in Some Kind of Wonderful and Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many people that even look familiar that they're on the main cast, not on the main cast. You're like that. Okay, that person is from something, and you just know they're from popular things. All right. I was gonna say, yeah, we better get to the next beer. So Ellen Barkin was Penny Pretty. Jeff Goldblum, who we mentioned, was gonna be one of our favorites. Probably gonna be in a bunch of movies that we talk about. And then Christopher Lloyd, which was Big Booty.
Yeah.
And there's a whole big joke. He gets irritated because everybody calls him Big Booty.
Yeah,
He's John Big
it's
Booty,
Big
but he's
Booty.
like, it's,
But actually, if you watch through the movie, all of the people are referencing him as Big Booty, and then it wasn't until Emilio Lazard calls him Big Booty. He keeps calling him Big Booty, and he's like Big Booty. Okay,
okay, yeah.
so next beer.
Oh,
This one is called Captain Save a Hop. It's juicy. Um, this was one of the ones that I found in. Where did I see that wine? What was it? Total Wine?
oh yeah.
Yeah, Total Wine. And this is a hazy. ABV is 7%.
Little lower, but still high.
Yep. But we're gonna.
Yeah, we talked last time about the labels on these cans.
Yeah.
And I was talking with my team about how these labels you can take the stickers off and put it on. But I mean, here's another one. Like the artwork on these
Yeah.
are usually they're so intricate. And it's another one. It's nice artwork. Like the sticker, we're gonna have to find something in here where we're sticking these things on. Maybe this table that we're recording on will be
Yeah.
all right.
Not on Charlie's laptop.
Not for work. All right.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I like the color. I mean, I like
This is a good.
That's a very
good hazy.
Yeah. Can't tell.
Again, 7%. Smells good. Not as bitter.
Mhm.
Yeah, this one has a little bit of a different. It says
What's
it's
the-
juicy, but
what's the fruit like? It juicy, hazy, India Pale Ale.
I want to say it's like a grapefruit or something.
There's a
Something
fruit in here
that's a bitter, yeah.
that is
That's
giving
different
it
from the-
yeah. Just looking at the picture.
Different from the
no.
orange that we just had from the Elysian.
Okay, it doesn't say. It doesn't. Full Circle Brewing Company, Fresno, California. Brewed in Fresno. Okay, yeah, it doesn't say. Yeah, if I had to guess, yeah, it's like a grapefruit.
Captain Save a Hop.
Oh, there's
Not really
something.
bitter there, and it could be just because I'm following up with the. This is following the juice dust that we just had. I'm gonna give this like a. On my quaffable, I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
Yeah, it's less.
Just
it's
it's
less.
not.
It's less for sure.
But
6.5
still,
is not bad.
yeah, it's still
6.5.
or 7.0. It's 7.0, even better. So
I'll give it on the quaffable scale. Yeah, it's not. So the other one, like as an IPA, it was a good IPA. It wasn't that juicy. This one, yeah, I'm going lower. I'm going 6, which is still.
I might, yeah. I might go with a 6.
Still very quaffable.
Yeah.
Right? We'll do it. It's not. We'll drink it.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. I might
Okay.
change out. Let me give it a burp and then.
Yeah. I've tried the other two that we have coming, so I know I'm confident that.
But these were new.
Yeah.
I'm still interested in the 19.2 and where
Why-
that came
yeah,
from.
why-
Is it, or maybe they just did it to be so that people would talk about it. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, it's a
Because he knew our podcast was out there, so they wanted to have something.
give us content. But it does remind me of a story. My dad. This is growing up when we were younger, and he had a friend where the wife was always like, you drink too much, you can't, like, you go out, you drink too much, and then he told his wife, like, I'm only gonna have a couple, and then he bought like the big, like oh, how whatever the big beers, and he's like, oh, I'm not lying, and I thought it was funny then, but it's kind of a joke that always comes up. I'm only gonna have a couple, and then you go buy the strongest, biggest beer that you can find.
It's like so my wife's auntie, we used to watch football together, and she used to tell me that the doctors tried to restrict her to have like a beer a day, or like one a day. And she said, so I'm just gonna save it for Sunday, and I'm gonna have a 6-pack. And I was like, I like your thinking. It's like the math works.
Yeah.
You're actually having one less than they're suggesting, so
You're winning.
yeah.
One a day, and I only had 6.
Yeah.
Smart. Save it all till Sunday. Okay, yeah. So big booty, big booty, but they're all John. Yeah, there was some. They showed the book of like all the different names.
Yeah.
And it's just
But back to John Big Boutte, played by Christopher Lloyd, also in Back to the Future, which is something that we know is coming.
it's common.
It's
for
one
sure.
of your favorites from the 80s.
But when I was looking, he was also. I mean, he's in so many different. Probably
growing up, he was in Taxi, right?
Most well known. I mean, his character on Taxi was just so out there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, well known for Taxi. His character on Taxi, and then for sure, Back to the Future is his most popular, most famous role.
But so they also have so Jeff Goldblum. We've mentioned him in several of our episodes that he's been in so many movies in the 80s. Earth Girls Are Easy, The Fly. There are like so many. He was in Silverado, which might be our one Western that we need to do. And
his character does. I mean, it's Jeff Goldblum. Like, even in this movie, he was very much just the way that he talks. I won't try and impersonate him, but it's such, like, you just know it's Jeff. Which is fun to watch when you see him. It's like, oh, like
his Goldblum-isms are like I mean, it's like watching him in Jurassic Park. And I mean, like, there's so many things that he does he acts the same way.
Just the way that he talks.
And he has like a swagger when he walks. He does it in this movie when he's walking around with those he's got his cowboy outfit when he
What is his name in here? Jersey?
They call him New Jersey. Yeah, they call him New Jersey. But he's actually like he's a surgeon also, right? So he was doing surgery with Buckaroo.
His name is Dr. Sidney Zweibel. Zweibel. I call him New Jersey too. Like,
that's New Jersey.
Bro, you need a nickname. We're gonna call you New Jersey.
But who did I say? John Ashton, who was also Taggart in Beverly Hills Cop. Going back to that, I don't know if you saw, like you said, you recognize a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So when John Lithgow or Emilio Lizardo was he was trying to escape from that. He was like in the loony bin, right? the guy that yeah. Back to Strange.
The loony bin, eh?
But the orderly, or the person that was there trying to keep him in, that he ends up killing, that guy was also in Beverly Hills Cop.
I didn't recognize him.
He was like, so in Beverly Hills Cop, the main bad guy, he was the henchman or the muscle for that guy.
And you just recognized him from?
Yeah,
like,
when I saw that, and that was the only thing I recognized. I'm sure he was in other things, but
that's pretty good. When you start recognizing people as the henchman for the guy on Beverly Hills Cop, like not the main actors, that's pretty good. But this movie had a lot of people that are probably very much like that. Like they have roles in movies that we've seen. I mean, it's a cast of
and
characters
so many,
that
Ellen Barkin, Jeff Goldblum. I mean, like there's so many people that have moved on to like bigger things, and not just in the 80s, they moved on multiple decades afterwards.
Yeah, when I was watching the opening credits and they have the list of names, it's like, yeah, you have the main people. It's like, oh, I recognize that name. But yeah, throughout the movie, you're recognizing people that aren't part of those names. That like, okay, I know this person is in different stuff, and I know that person. So it's filled with a lot of people from different shows.
So something that I haven't mentioned before. So when I was younger, coincidentally, in 1984, when I was 12 years old, I was on Magnum PI. And while I was on Magnum PI, the episode that I was on, of course, had Tom Selleck in it, but the guest stars were John Saxon and Robert Ito, who plays Dr. Hikita in Buckaroo Banzai.
The Japanese guy.
He's the doctor, the good doctor,
the main doctor guy.
So I just thought it was pretty funny that I saw.
And that was in 1984.
Yeah, maybe it was the same. He might have just went.
Came right off.
Yeah. Or maybe he went from my episode to like.
That was his launching point. Was Buckaroo Banzai? Did Buckaroo Banzai get him the Magnum PI spot?
So he was already a celebrity. He was in a show called Quincy.
The TV show, like the Quincy MD or something.
So Jack Klugman was Quincy, and Robert Ito was his assistant. And that show ran from the late 70s into like the early 80s. So and then shortly after that, he kind of went into a movie, at least one.
Oh, but same year. Would it'd be cool to find out like how close that was.
When he left Hawaii, he went to go film Buckaroo Banzai, or he came from Buckaroo Banzai and filmed that episode.
Okay, now there is footage of this. We got to get footage of this Magnum PI episode. And we'll post it to our social media. We'll get that going. We just started a Facebook group, and we'll get you the information for that soon. And we're getting our social media stuff in order. But that's something that we can definitely post to social media. I think that would be a fun one to share. Maybe some pictures of Peter Hernandez when I had him as a student as well. We got some content to post. But cool that you were on Magnum PI. That's the local shows here in Hawaii. There's a show, we mentioned this before North Shore, but that Rescue High Surf.
Yeah.
If you haven't been watching that,
I watched the first episode the other night. I'm gonna watch more.
Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 episodes in, and I'm into it now, and it's a decent amount of surfing. So if you like watching surfing, it's good. I just saw on the news that there's a couple people that died on the North Shore, like some tourists, some older people that just died. It made me like,
I mean, and I was watching the pilot the day after that happened, and that was pretty.
So it's like it's real. Like these are the lifeguards and the rescue people that are out there are really saving lives and doing that. People are dying out there, and so far it's been. I mean, the local actors that they have on there are doing a really good job. It's not cheesy or forced. Like it's they're doing a good job of portraying Hawaii. I'm not out on the North Shore. I can't say like that's really how it is out there, but I like the way that they're portraying Hawaii.
Yeah.
So little side note about Hawaii shows, and Magnum PI was always fun to watch. All the Hawaii shows that they film here are fun to watch, to see Hawaii and see how they portray things.
How it's represented. Yeah.
So thank you for being a part of portraying Hawaii and being a steward. But yeah, we'll try and get that footage out. That'd be fun. Okay, moving on with the movie. I know you did some research on some of the other stuff that people are in. I read that there's a lot of quotes that people get from this movie. I remember one of them, which was remember, no matter where you go, there you are. And I heard it, I was like, oh, okay, like that's a cool. And there's a few other ones that like research, when I did the research, says, oh, these are famous quotes. And it's like, I don't even remember where they're from. Do you have any favorite scenes or quotes from the movie?
Favorite scenes, there's a couple, and I think one of them was, I think actually my favorite is when they developed that gas that they can breathe in, and now they can see who's an alien and who's not. And Jeff Goldblum looks back and he sees John Parker. So he's like, he breathes it.
Oh.
And the
and John Parker is
he's the Rastafarian, yeah. He's the one that brings them all the information, and it's like the props that they have, the masks that they have. It's like the pop.
I was gonna bring some.
We could have made something out of it. Yeah, bubble wrap. It's like bubble wrap.
Should have done.
And they made a mask, and we have that, and they had the scuba. It was like when they inhaled that gas so that they could see who the aliens were. It was like a scuba mouthpiece.
Right.
And then, but yeah, that was like probably one of my favorite parts when he breathes it in and he kind of looks back and he's like, what?
But that's because for a while it was only Buckaroo that could see, right? Because he got shocked or whatever. He had that ability to see the aliens in their human form, but see them in their alien form. And then
there's like so many. I mean, I can see how you would get confused watching it for the first time, because there's like so much going on. It's like first he's in a rocket car, or actually first he's performing a surgery, and then he gets helicoptered in, and he's gonna go into like a rocket car. They're trying to break the land speed record, and then all of a sudden it's like only his crew knows that he's actually gonna divert and try and drive through a mountain. And not only are these guys like superheroes and special agents, but they're like also musicians.
And then he's playing music. So and it was decent 80s music, like that.
Hong Kong Cavaliers, and
it was a decent song. I was like, oh, that's good, catchy 80s tune.
Jeff Goldblum was his like fellow doctor performing the surgery, and they needed somebody to fill in as a musician, so he brings him in as a musician. It's pretty crazy, but
So if you're looking for a nice, easy to watch, makes total sense, this is not the movie. This movie is all over the place, but that's what makes it so popular. It's a comedy. There's like fun. There's funny parts. It's action adventure, it's drama. That's part of what makes this movie such a cult classic.
In our next episode, when we do the fact check, I think we can probably look up like how all of these things were like incorporated with just how did they come up with this story, and that. Yeah. So I read some things about like I don't know if Buckaroo Banzai was originally a comic. They did have a comic in the movie, but I had heard something about like there were like 13 movies that were made, and it could have been all animated movies, but like how big was this in the comic world or graphic novel world? However nerdy you are, it depends. Some people would take offense if I call it a comic, so it might be a graphic novel. But in either case, yeah. How like where did this come from? What came? Like was this a comic that led to a script that became a movie?
Yeah.
And
or did the movie contribute to other stuff?
Or did it become a comic afterwards?
A screenplay. All right, so ready for another
hazy. This is called Num Num Juice.
I like the name of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a sticker on that one. But
no, this one is actually
but it's still the design is still good. I like the color of it coming out of there. Okay, just looking at, I mean, that's what a hazy looks like.
This is like textbook.
That's what a hazy looks like. You said you had this one too.
I think so. 7.5 ABV.
Okay, it's up there too. Let me see the Fall River Brewing. All right, open to adventure. Okay, they do give us a little description here. Oh, very similar to the last one.
Yeah.
Or maybe the last one's still in. Yeah, it's very similar. This hazy IPA is a tropical juice bomb that shifts to an almost candy-like finish on both the nose and palate, while being served in a coconut with a little umbrella seems fitting. The can it's in will have to do. It's so num-num that it might leave your num-num. It might leave you num-num. So drink responsibly. Cheers. All right. All right.
It's good though.
Yeah, I do like the design on it. It's kind of interesting. It has like a cutout. Anyway, that's it.
It's like dripping paint.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, open to adventure. All right.
So I think we pretty much went over everything we were going to in our description of the movie. So anyway, so looking back at some of these actors, like I was saying, a lot of them are in movies or were in movies that we're probably going to be doing in the future. But Ellen Barkin, her first movie was this movie called Diner, which had oh God, why can't I think of his name now? He was in Mickey Rourke.
No.
So Mickey Rourke and in Diner, and then there was like a bunch of other people in there, but so that was her breakout movie. And she also did this movie called Eddie and the Cruisers, which I think I mentioned before because it had a great soundtrack. But Eddie and the Cruisers was another one of those movies.
Yeah, Ellen Barkin is a name that I know.
Yeah, and she had done a bunch. She did this movie called The Big Easy with it was with well, she was in A Sea of Love with Al Pacino, and then she was in The Big Easy with who was he? He was in The Rookie and Dennis Quaid.
I just saw something with Dennis Quaid in it, or I listened. Yeah, but he's. Yeah, it just is. I don't even remember what it was. I shouldn't have even said it, but but yeah, he's been around. He's been in a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. Okay. Overall thoughts for the movie. I know this was one that you recommended. Back to my friend Daniel, or one of my coworkers, Daniel. He's like, man, did George pick this one and The Princess Bride? Like, he's got good taste. I think we have similar taste. So he likes a lot of movies Daniel, you got to recommend more movies for us
Yeah.
if
And we'll
you're,
see
yeah,
if I have similar taste.
yeah,
But I think
if this is
we
one that
could.
you
Yeah.
enjoyed. Yeah. So your overall thoughts on the movie.
So now thinking back to aside from my favorite parts in the movie would probably be Jeff Goldblum's reaction when he first sees what an alien looks like, and um, one of the things that really stood out to me the most was the way that they did the end sequence when they're walking down
They
canal,
show that.
and then they kind of all slowly just all kind of like migrate towards him, and then it becomes like this big posse walking down, and I think that was like one of the bigger memories that I had, or it was just like I want to say I saw something similar to it in this movie. There's like Quentin Tarantino's first movie was Reservoir Dogs, and they did something similar where they're
That
all
was
kind
his
of.
first movie.
That was Tarantino's first movie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I know we talked about that
Yeah.
quite a bit, and like it was a good show. Okay. Side note.
But yeah, so rewatching it, um, I would still probably give it like a 8 out of 10, just because of the way that I think it influenced me with with sci-fi movies and with the impact that it had. What I feel it had the impact on how I follow conspiracy theories to a certain extent. I mean, like, so I have a few friends that are a lot more in depth than I am, but I'll dabble and I'll go down a few rabbit holes.
Yeah. So for me, the movie. I also have to realize that this is in 1984, and like,
Yeah.
watching a movie now in 2024, it's very different. Like it's a different genre in sci-fi, and you just um I the again the first time watching the movie, I was so lost, and like he's going through the mountain, then he's coming out, and now he's playing music, and
Yeah.
like it's so all over the place, and I was so confused. And then after reading a little bit more, right, even before I started reading stuff, just watching it a second time, I watched it and I started it right back over, and I rewatched like the first 30 minutes, and it made so much more sense.
Yeah.
Just watching the first 30 minutes, or
I mean, if you're watching it for the first time, they have this. I mean, they have a scroll that they kind of try and explain to you what's going on or the background of everything, and it still makes no sense
Yeah.
after you've watched it. Yeah, they try and throw you a bone and explain a little bit to you, but it doesn't seem like it has any bearing. Who cares if this guy's a neurosurgeon and he also is a musician, and until you see it all played out that yeah, he is a rock star and he is in a comic. And
so hopefully, if you've watched or listened to this episode and then go watch the movie, we've given enough background information that the first time that you watch it, you'll be like, oh, I understand a lot of what's going on.
So now that we're done with the movie, I made a little quiz. So I asked Charlie, music wise, what genre did he feel most comfortable with? So if I test you on it, what is your genre?
I'm nervous.
I said genre. He said Run-D.M.C.
That's a genre. I think
that was probably. I started laughing as soon as I was like, okay, yeah, Run-D.M.C. Yeah, I can see that.
So when you said genre, so I just thought about like my Pandora, and I have a Run-D.M.C. station, and so when I listen to the Run-D.M.C. station, it plays songs from Run-D.M.C. and like Run-D.M.C. and it's a genre.
Yeah.
So that's funny.
So I did a few things. Now, Run-D.M.C. also one of my favorite of all time. But we'll just start. So we'll start with a little bit of trivia with like So they signed to a major product endorsement deal. Do you know what that company was?
Def Jam Records.
No, that would be like who produced them, but
Oh.
they were endorsed. So it was like it's like they got sponsored by somebody.
I'm gonna be horrible. This is gonna be like the worst segment of our podcast
But it's
of me not being able to answer.
I tried to say I said it in this order because if we go down to like what songs that they did, it'll kind of give it away. But
Okay.
it's based off of a style of clothing that they wore, and
I know
they actually made it into a song.
I know that they wore Adidas.
So it was Adidas.
Now, fact about Adidas, like the original pronunciation is Adidas.
Adidas.
And if you talk to my wife, you get in trouble if you say Adidas. So you have to change the name of the song to My Adidas.
And I'm pretty sure she's the one that convinced my daughter to say Adidas.
That's Adidas. Yeah. So it's Adidas, which ruins the song My Adidas.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's okay. Okay. Adidas.
So
Adidas.
This is kind of related to them, but they were actually the second hip hop act to appear in American Bandstand. Can you think of who the first one was?
I mean, if it's not Sugar Hill Gang,
yeah, it's Sugar Hill Gang.
Then I don't know who would be.
Yeah. I mean
Sugar Hill Gang.
Sugar Hill
Rappers
Gang.
Delight. Instead of hip hop.
Yeah. The Sugar Hill Gang appeared first on the program in 1981.
And second was Run-D.M.C. I mean, that's pretty good.
Run-D.M.C. was the second one. Run-D.M.C. was also the first hip hop group to be on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. There were like so many things. I mean,
was that when they did like collaboration? Well, no,
I don't know. You know, so when I was going through this, they were doing rock stuff before they ever did Walk This Way.
Yeah, Raising Hell and that whole like I'm the king of rock.
Yeah,
that was
the
yeah
rock box. I mean, so I will see if you can name the members of the group with their real name, and we'll start with Run. His name, and I made it multiple choice.
Okay.
And this will make it more fun. So Run, or more currently Reverend Run. His real name is Russell Simmons.
Yes.
Richard Simmons, or Joseph Simmons.
Russell Simmons.
Russell Simmons is
that's a brother. Joseph Simmons. Joseph Simmons. Okay.
Not Richard Simmons. That's
definitely not the rest in peace.
Yeah.
Rest. Okay, Joseph Simmons.
Joseph Simmons.
Whose brother is Russell Simmons?
Yep.
Okay.
Which we'll get into a few other things about Russell Simmons after this. D.M.C.
Daryl McDaniels. Yeah. Okay. Give me multiple choice.
A multiple choice was Daryl McDowell's, Daryl McDonald's, or Daryl McDaniels.
Daryl McDaniels again.
It's good that you already. I mean, I didn't need the multiple choice, but I did make some that were kind of fun. So Jam Master Jay. Is Jason Mraz, Jason Mantzoukas, or Jason Mizell.
I never. I'll guess the last one, Jason Mizell.
Jason Mizell is his name.
I did not know he was just Jam Master Jay.
Yep. And he was actually, I think he went by a different name before he became Jam Master Jay with
like he was another
yeah,
DJ.
he had like a different, it was like
DJ something,
Jazzy Jeff or something. Jazzy J or something like that. When I was looking
Jazzy Jeff, also very good, very. Those were two of my favorite DJs for sure.
So they actually had 6 actual albums, and then of course a bunch that they were compilations with. But in the 80s there were 3.
Raising Hell.
Raising Hell was probably the one that I thought was the one I knew the most until I started going deeper into it. Like so Run-D.M.C was their self-titled
Yeah.
original album that they came out with.
That's that one. That's say 85, 84, 5-ish, 80. Yeah. So I remember being middle school and just like all of those songs.
I didn't realize that these were so I mean like I thought I started listening from Raising Hell and after that, but it was actually Raising Hell that I probably stopped after Raising Hell.
Yeah.
So
there was one in between that then.
and then they had the King of Rock.
Yeah. So yeah, I can pick that. King of Rock was the one that they had a lot of those. It was more rock. So the first one was rap. It was really focused on my favorite song, Sucker MCs.
Yep.
From 2 years ago, a friend of mine asked me to say some MC rhymes, and I said this rhyme I'm about to say. The rhyme was deaf, and then it went this way, and like it was rap. Like that's their first
Sucker
album.
MCs. But Rockbox was also in that first album, and the Rockbox, I listened to it today, and I was like, there's like a lot of there's guitar in it, and they're like there was like
you don't think about it
Yeah.
back then. But yeah, Raising Hell was definitely or King of Rock was definitely a lot of rock influence.
So we have
brought that in.
Run-D.M.C, King of Rock, or Raising Hell. I'm gonna name you a few songs, and you tell me which.
Sucker MCs, I got that one.
Well, yeah.
Was that on the list?
Yeah.
Okay, I got 1 point.
So Sucker MCs, the King of Rock is obviously in the King of Rock. So I want to say
I'm the King of Rock. There is none higher. Sucker MCs will call me sire.
Yeah. And my Adidas.
My Adidas. Raising Hell.
It was in Raising Hell.
It's Tricky. Was that on the list?
Yeah, It's Tricky was also
Raising Hell.
Raising Hell. How about Jam Master Jay?
Oh, that's the first. That's Run-D.M.C.
Run-D.M.C.
Oh, I'm doing all right.
Yeah. You talk too much.
You never shut up. You talk. That's the second one.
King of Rock.
King of Rock.
Yep, you're doing very well. Jam Master Jammin'.
That's got to be the first one, but I'm not even sure like which, or maybe no, or maybe it's the most recent one. It feels like it's Jam Master Jammin'. It's him. He's on the turntables. He's doing stuff. Maybe that's Raising Hell.
It was in King of Rock.
Okay. I gotta go look that one back up. Yeah.
Peter Piper.
Pick peppers and run rhymes. Humpty Dumpty fell down.
This is our time.
Raising Hell.
Raising Hell. It's like that.
And that's the way it is. That was a song that I think I performed in a talent show that I lip synced.
I would have loved to see that.
Like that. And that was
the way
the original. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yep, that's when rap was rap. That's
money is the cure to end all your woes.
Your ups,
your downs, your highs, and your lows. Yeah, we definitely grew up in the same generation.
We gotta say that song next time where like one is Run, the other is D.M.C, and you know like which parts are which.
Roots Rap Reggae. This was a collaboration with Yellowman.
What? Yeah. I also like I did listen to a lot of Yellowman back in the 80s, but I am not. I'm done.
And it
that was on one of those?
It was one of the three.
What?
It was in Raising Hell, King of Rock, or Run-D.M.C.
Okay, well, it definitely was not Run-D.M.C. and I don't think it was Raising Hell. It must have, because that King of Rock one was probably had the least popular, the least amount of really popular song. I'll say it was from that one.
It was. I was surprised there was as much in the King of Rock that I knew, and because like I said, I thought that Raising Hell was the one that I learned who Run-D.M.C. was, and then when I started, I was like, oh, I knew all of these songs before Raising Hell was like way after that.
I mean, Raising Hell and It's Tricky, like that made it into mainstream movies.
Yeah,
and that was kind of
It's Tricky became internationally known
on the microphone.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and trick you.
Okay.
Dumb Girl.
Dumb Girl? That's not on any of those. That's one of their more.
No, that was on Raising Hell.
You said you're trying to trick me. I thought because they.
Well, it was like one of the obscure ones, but it was Dumb Girl. I liked it because of the way the bass drop was. There was a lot of bass in that song. And
there's because they did have some songs. I kind of stopped listening to Run-D.M.C. Basically, like the albums after Raising Hell was I didn't listen to. Right?
There was so when I looked at what the songs were in a lot of those, and there are a lot of collaborative songs where they did stuff with other rappers and or like so like here's one it was interesting. So Christmas in Hollis.
Okay.
So Christmas in Hollis, I think they actually performed that in Beach Street.
Beach Street, yeah.
And yeah, so they performed that in Beach Street, but that
well,
was
did they perform it or did
they?
Well, it was definitely on the.
I can't remember if they were the ones that performed it, but
I don't know if they performed it.
That was their song.
It was in the.
It was in Beach Street
and in other movies too.
Yeah. And it was from their Tougher Than Leather album, which is actually '88, so that's still technically in the '80s.
Yeah.
So was Mary Mary.
Okay, I know that song.
Yeah. And Run's House,
wow.
Which became, and that was all in Tougher Than Leather, but a lot of other songs in Tougher Than Leather were like collaborative, and that was after they did. So Walk This Way.
Was that in?
Which one was that one in? Tougher Than Leather.
If
Run-D.M.C.
I would think Tougher Than Leather. I mean that, but or.
It was actually in Raising Hell, and that's that surprised me because I thought it was after. Yeah, I thought it came out after Raising Hell.
But Tougher Than now that you say some of those songs, I mean, I could if I listen or if you play the songs, they're all probably familiar. I'm sure I had that CD maybe at that time. What were we doing?
Well, so Run-D.M.C. So the first album, other than Rockbox, and we mentioned Jam Master Jay and Sucker MCs, it's like that. There was also Hard Times. Hard Times was also from the
Comment. Yeah.
And in the King of Rock, they had Rock the House, King of Rock, You Talk Too Much, Jam Master Jammin', Roots Rap Reggae.
The You Be Illin'. What was
You Be Illin' was in Raising Hell.
Raising Hell. That was a popular
so also one. In King of Rock was Can You Rock It Like This? And It's Not Funny. Then in Raising Hell, Peter Piper. I sent you that. I mean, Reverend Run did a thing on Def Poetry Jam. So Russell Simmons had this series that he did on HBO, and he had like all of these poets, or street poets, and so there was like some actual street poets, and then there are some people that were like celebrities. So I had like Erykah Badu and Reverend Run. So when Reverend Run came out and he did his one, he did Peter Piper, but in the form of a poem,
kind of like slam poetry.
And this was like right after Jam Master Jay got killed, so that was his whole thing. That at the end it says, "You'll see Jay again, my friend."
You gotta check that out if you haven't. If you haven't seen that, go Google it, YouTube it.
Reverend Run, Def Poetry Jam.
So good.
That thing is unreal. But Raising Hell at Peter Piper. It's Tricky. My Adidas. My Adidas. Walk This Way, which was with Aerosmith. Hit It Run,
Oh, yeah, I like that one.
which was there was some beatbox in that.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You Be Illin and Dumb Girl.
I gotta hear Dumb Girl. Like, I can't pitch all those other songs. Like,
Stupid as can be. Dumb. You got. We'll sorry, when we go offline, we're gonna listen to this.
yeah.
But yeah, and then after that, Tougher Than Leather was their fourth album. They had Mary Mary, Run's House, Christmas in Hollis.
Whose house?
Run's House.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, my timeline is so out of whack because if you asked me, I would have thought Run's House was in the first. I mean,
Right.
yeah, it was like they already had people that were following. I mean, so Run-D.M.C was one of the first people to not only have a black audience, but they drew in the white audience, and
Huge.
they had like an international following. They had a mix with rock music from almost from day one. If you listen to their first,
Which
Rock Box was one of the first ones that Rev Run wrote.
which really, I mean, just ahead of their time. I mean, which makes them who they are today is
Yeah.
with how they brought these audiences together.
So as we wrap this up, we're probably gonna go offline shortly, but
Yeah.
the last one that Charlie and I are gonna be doing is called Liquid Gravity.
I like the name of that.
I mean, it's just a
Yeah,
really
the
basic
picture.
label. This is another one of those stickers, so we can probably
Stick it on
take
the
it off,
table.
yeah, stick it on the table. Looks like it says 7.0. So ABV is 7.0. And I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie and say I can see anything else on here.
I do like the simple design. We were just talking about how the intricacies of some of the other designs, and sometimes just a little black.
Just a picture of a hop.
All right. Well, that was that it for Run-D.M.C?
That was it for my quiz. I think you actually the things that I thought would get you hard, like Adidas, you got that. Sugar Hill Gang, I mean, again, this is like our wheelhouse, you know. This is
Yeah.
like 80s hip hop and rap, and
You asked like, oh,
collaborate and listen.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Sugar Hill
cheers
Gang.
on this. Let's try this one.
Liquid
Smells
Gravity.
good too.
Yep, I tried this one. I know this is a good one to end with. I like this one.
This is reminds me of, they're all kind of, maybe the Elysian. No,
A little bit closer, but there's something about, we have to look more into what the fruit is, or what is causing why did what is it, Captain Save a Hop,
like grapefruit ish,
and yeah,
Num
definitely juice.
yeah. I don't know what else in this.
I really like the taste of the Elysian and this Liquid Gravity. This Liquid Gravity Brewing Company, West Coast IPA, 7.0, so it's got some kick to it. But anyway, so
Quick out of, well, I'll give it 6.5. Definitely better than the.
I like this better than the Num Num Juice and the Seva. What is this called? Captain Seva Hop. I would give
The
this.
Elysian was the best one.
Yeah. I think the Elysian was the best. I would still give this maybe like a 7.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is we're mixing different flavors, so it's like it does have a contrast. Yeah.
By the time we
if you have one and then you try the other, it can swing it significantly. But But in either case,
Yeah.
we're on our fourth beer.
Yeah.
I haven't started slurring yet, but
thanks for
shortly.
bringing these back. I
Yeah.
know, like, yeah, we go back and forth. I was like, oh, who's bringing this and that, and
Yep.
then you text me and said, yeah, I still got some left, and don't bring anything. And it's fun. It's so fun to try ones that you haven't had, because when we get to some of the local beers, it's going to be like, oh, I've had this one, I've had this one, I've tried this, and we're doing different taste tests or whatever. So this is like really fun to bring stuff back. And I mean, there's a couple places down here, Village Bottle Shop. I know Whole Foods has a decent selection that they're constantly bringing in different stuff. But yeah, a lot of things that we do is going to be things that we're familiar with. So
yeah,
so
and we
fun.
want to try like stuff that you guys could try yourself. Shout out to the Side Street crew. So last night I was drinking with a bunch of people at Opaka. Turned them on to the podcast. Hopefully they're listening to this. But
I hope so. Oh, we could record one down there one day.
We could record one down there. There and maybe Hanakoa. But so Buckaroo Banzai, we did Buckaroo Banzai. We mentioned the ride. I highly suggest
get on a flight.
That movie.
Get on a
or
Hawaiian flight.
we'll find a way to get it so you guys can watch it, because it's definitely a good movie to watch. We've tried these 4 different hazies. So the movie that we're going to be doing next week.
What's next? Or next time.
Or not? Yeah, the next episode, based off of Keith's request. So cousin Keith put in a request, and it is funny because I just happened to watch this movie like a couple of nights ago.
I told George, hey, we got an email and a request to watch this movie. He's like, oh, I just watched that the other night. I'm like, of course you did. It's crazy.
I'm easily entertained, and I entertain myself a lot. So the movie that we're going to be watching is Weird Science. In it, Robert Downey Jr. when he was very young.
Yep.
Anthony Michael Hall when he was very young, before he was actually this is probably when he was part of the Brat Pack.
Yeah. If you don't know Anthony Michael Hall, he was also in
Breakfast Club.
He
was in 16 Candles.
16 Candles was a popular one.
He was in a lot of John Hughes movies, and he was also more recently he was in a TV version of The Dead Zone. Was it? I think The Dead Zone. He played the character that was played by Christopher Walken in the movie. But in either case, Anthony Michael Hall.
I'm a Saturday Night Live fan, and he was actually on.
He was a cast member.
He was a cast member.
Yep. So if we're gonna mention podcasts that we also listen to, I started listening to this one called Fly on the Wall, and it's David Spade.
I like David Spade. Speaking of SNL,
Dana Carvey.
Oh, really?
So they basically just bring back people that were either cast members or like recurring guests. So the ones that I've listened to so far were like Tina Fey, Tom Hanks, Darrell Hammond, Chris Rock. But I mean, I as soon as I listened to it, I was like, oh, I gotta listen from the beginning. So I think they started probably sometime in COVID, which a lot of podcasts started at that time.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then they start talking about like all these different experiences they had while they were on Saturday Night Live. And I mean, like Tom Hanks, he's probably been in like about 10.
Yeah, not a cast member.
Yeah, not a cast member, but a recurring guest.
But a regular guest.
Yeah.
He was on the episode of Saturday Night Live that Bruno Mars was on.
Oh.
Bringing it full circle. Where he has his character, Tom Hanks has his character. It's Halloween. He's probably gonna do it around Halloween. Is coming up. I can't think of the name, but maybe if you're listening, you know Tom Hanks's character from SNL. As soon as the episode is done, I'll remember it and be like, damn it.
He's been in so many though. I mean, like he was in a lot of so he might be in a we might do a couple movies that he was in. One of my favorites was Volunteers. And that was he was like some rich kid just graduated from college and he had like a gambling debt. So he was trying to escape from the people that he owed money to, ended up on a Peace Corps plane. It was funny because in that movie he co-stars with Rita Wilson, who is his wife. But John Candy was also in it, and it was a pretty good movie.
Volunteers.
So yeah, so he ended up jumping in on a plane that they were like Peace Corps volunteers, but he was trying to get away from the guys that he owed money to.
Oh.
So
yeah, never heard of that.
It was a good movie, yeah. But again, early, it was like
early in his career,
not like
before Big.
It was before Big, and
because he was pretty young and Big. He was also like he was in we're talking like Bosom Buddies and TV, and I mean that's got to be early in his career.
Yeah. But I mean, like you think about like movies like Money Pit, movies where he was kind of like he was kind of like a goofy character. Like
he's just been around longer than most people
realize. But way before movies like Forrest Gump or more dramatic roles like
I didn't get to
Saving Private Ryan. I mean more he has more, I guess, dramatic roles as he got older. But he was in like he was in Bachelor Party, he was in Volunteers. Money Pit was one of my favorites of his.
Volunteers sounds like I would. That sounds like one I'd like to check out. I'm a Tom Hanks fan. He's good.
But I mean, if you think about like how when he was in The Terminal, and I mean it was more like in the 90s and on, he was in more dramatic roles, and people forget that and then he went through a phase where he was in like more rom-coms like Sleepless in Seattle,
right.
You've Got Mail, and then he went into stuff more like
definitely like Sober, like such a good actor. Like,
very diverse.
Philadelphia, like
Philadelphia.
Oh, that was deep like that. So yeah, very very like. What's good about like getting into the serious characters is that he can still be funny and reach. There was one recent one where he like lived in this cul-de-sac. He was like retired. What was that one called?
Someone, he was talking to the UPS guy and he was like, you brown people. He's like, that's not what I mean.
It was a simple, like, seemed like a low budget film.
Larry Crown.
But it was good.
Larry Crown was a great movie that he was in with Julia Roberts, and he was like have you seen Larry Crown?
I never even heard of it.
So Larry Crown, he was like a salesman, and they basically all started losing their jobs, and then so he decided to go back to school. So he goes back to school to learn about communication and stuff like that. Julia Roberts is his teacher, and then he kind of like has a relationship with her. But great movie. It's a great movie. Yeah.
This guy, he's.
But yeah, he's been in so many. League of Their Own. That another. I mean,
that's
so many great movies.
One of my favorites. All right. Well, your dogs are barking. They want to come back in.
I don't even know where they're at. They're outside somewhere. They're not outside the door.
They're not where they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be right out here. They're barking from somewhere else. But collaborate and listen. Episode 6 now in the books. 808. Yeah.
Episode 7. Make sure you guys look for Weird Science. We'll be working on that for the next one. Yeah.
But yeah, email us 808collaborate@gmail.com. Give us your suggestions. Every suggestion we've got it's been a good one, and it's been one that we've reviewed and enjoyed. Thanks again, George, for the beers.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll see you guys all soon.
Yeah, well, we're definitely looking for more ways to reach out to, I guess, just get different perspectives and just my dogs are really irritating me.
Send it to us. All right,
But
in the books.
yeah, we're trying to get different social media perspectives and platforms so we can reach out to you guys. But
Give us ideas.
yeah, collaborate and listen.
Cheers.